Hey guys, what's up? It's Nick. Welcome to my channel. I know it's been a while, but I'm back here with the video that I promised you. It's the Power Rangers movie review. Now, I'm warning you guys now. Spoilers. Can we put spoilers somewhere here?
Spoilers.
No, like, written?
Yeah, spoilers.
Okay. Spoilers. If you do not want this movie spoiled for you, do not watch this video. Although it's been out for a while, so if you're actually a Power Rangers fan, you should have seen it by now, but it's fine. I'll forgive you.
At me.
At Joe, at our cameraman, Joe. So, spoilers. Okay, let me get started from the beginning. So, I said from the start, from the trailer review, that this movie seemed to have a darker tone. It definitely had a darker tone. It was definitely more adult. There was more adult humor. There was darker, more serious issues in the movie. So I want to start with the opening. The opening started with a little history of the Power Rangers, of the previous Power Rangers, of Zordon's team, how they came to Earth. So that I really liked. I really liked that they added that origin. It felt a little more real. It felt a little darker. I liked that we got more of the history of it. The one thing I noticed about the opening scene, though, the opening scene was mid-war. It was during the Prehistoric, help. I'm not smart.
Dinosaurs.
It was during the dinosaurs era, whatever. So, Zordon and his team crash land to Earth in the middle of a war. Now, you only see 3 Rangers at this time. You see Zordon, who's the original Red Ranger. You see the original Yellow Ranger, Crumpled. And you see Rita Repulsa, who is the original Green Ranger. It is confirmed from the beginning of the movie that she's the original Green Ranger. Now, the war scene there was very reminiscent of the war scene in the fan-made film. I don't know if this is a coincidence or not, but I know that Saban definitely saw the fan-made film because they had it taken down originally. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a very R-rated, fan-made, high-quality film. I believe it's called Power/Rangers, and that's how they're allowed to keep it up. And it's 15 minutes. It's amazing. I definitely recommend watching it. And if you do watch it, and you watch the Power Rangers movie, you will notice the similarities in the opening scene. The way the ship crashes, the way they wake up. And I think you see a shot from Zordon's point of view, you might. But the way the ship crashes, the way they wake up in like disarray and they're all crumpled and dying and whatever, very similar to this movie. So when it opens, it shows right away that there's conflict with Rita Repulsa, that she's evil, that she's craving powers. It shows the Yellow Ranger die. You don't see the rest of the team, you just see the original Yellow Ranger. And then it shows Zordon talking, I believe, to Alpha 5 about hiding the crystals. So Zordon uses his ship and the body to hide the crystals, and that's how they explain him being in the ship's matrix. So right off the bat, we get a lot of information. We're really front-loaded with the info, and I really like that. I like that they explain the history, how they came to Earth, why Rita's evil, how the coins got there, how he got stuck in the ship. Great. Moving to present time and the modern Rangers. So, the modern Rangers are not the goody two-shoes they were in the original series. All of them are a little more real, a little more, not broken, but darker. They're not these Boy Scouts or anything like that. It opens with the Red Ranger, and he's like the star of the town. And another difference of this film from the original show is that the original show, I believe they used scenes from Chicago for Angel's Grove, so Angel's Grove was always depicted as a busy, bustling city. And in this film, it's more of a like small town, Mariners town. It was interesting. I feel like it fits better to have that smaller town environment. It made it seem a little more authentic. It fit with the tone of the film. With this darker film, it wouldn't be right to have like a bright, bustling city. They introduce all the characters, and I like that they're not just all friends. They meet up throughout the movie. In the original, I believe they were all friends. It's not just plot convenience. There's actually some thought into it. So it shows right off the bat that the star player, the city boy, he's like the city boy wonder, he's everyone's hero, is not this goody two-shoes that you think. He commits a crime, he steals one of the team's mascots, and then he gets stuck in a car chase with the cops, and it really shows that the actions have consequences. A lot of times within the Power Rangers show, their actions wouldn't really have consequences. Everything would kind of just reset to the next episode and the city would be fine and all that. This movie showed that there are the consequences. His car chase resulted in an injury that ended his football career. So it was interesting to show a Red Ranger who's not like this all-American team leader. He is broken. he is unsure of himself, and you see his character development from being very unsure about this group of people and about himself to actually becoming a true team leader. So that I really appreciated. I like that they made a lot of references to the show. I think that was really interesting that they did that. They made several references with their race, like we said. So there's a scene where they are about to find the ship, and they fall into water and they all start glowing their ranger colors. So they address that the Black Ranger is white. In the original series, he was black, and there was controversy over that. So they make a little joke out of it. They acknowledge first with the casting that they're not going to assign people's skin tone to their ranger color, which is really good. Like, thank God they didn't do that. But they also make a joke out of it because there's a scene where the Black Ranger says, "Oh, I'm black," and Billy, the Blue Ranger, says, "No, you're not," and Billy is black in this. And he's like, "No, I am." And he's like, "No, you're not." So it's like a little light humor about that. I appreciate also the idea of the augmented powers. I think that was really interesting, that was something that happened later on in the series, but this makes more sense to me because they're taking on these strong aliens. So why would they just be able, just from regular karate, to fight these strong aliens? I feel like it's a bit of a necessity to have the powers, to be able to train with them. And that's another thing in the movie I appreciate. It shows them they're not rangers. They're not, even by the end of the movie, they still have more to learn. They're not full-fledged rangers. In the show, they instantly know how to use their powers, how to summon the swords. In this, they really broke it down. They trained. They couldn't control their powers at first. They got like, they could super jump. They would get like flung around the mountain. They barely moved. And then the training too, they got their asses handed to them. Wait, can I say asses? Am I gonna get flagged for saying that?
Did you just ask if you can curse on your own channel?
I know, but I don't want the age restriction.
Oh man, how's corporate gonna take this?
No, but I don't want the age restriction on.
Redo it and say booties this time.
Okay, PG version. So,
Bleep it.
bleep it. So they show their training, and when they're training, they really get their butts handed to them. You know, they fight hologram versions of the putty men, they're called?
Clayman.
The Claymen, putty men, whatever they're called, Rita Repulsa's henchmen. They have versions of them, hologram versions to train with, and they get thrown around like ragdolls. They get beat up, they get sore, they have to control their powers. They realize that just because they have these powers doesn't mean they could automatically win. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoy them showing their progression throughout the film. I always appreciate really good character development. So I like that they weren't a team from the start. They were arguing with each other. They didn't trust each other. They ended up fighting each other. Like, there was a scene where the Black Ranger and the Red Ranger come to conflicts and fight each other. And then Billy steps in and stops them. And then there's a defining moment where even Zordon's sick of it, and he's like, you know what, we're done. We're not training anymore, go home. And they all stay together, and they don't go home, and they have a campfire, and that's when they really, most of them really open up to each other. And I think it's always good to have a defining moment where that character development reaches a peak, and it's like, okay, now it's clicking. I also appreciate that they broke some cliches within the movie. Like, typically with a teen film, there's always one who's unsure, there's always one who's there from the start, there's always one who's going to betray them. So that's the direction I thought they were going, because there is a scene where Rita Repulsa attacks Trini, the Yellow Ranger, and she's basically like gives her a proposal to come fight for her. Like, after beating her up and showing her that she could kill her, she gives her a proposal to fight with her. And I was like, oh crap, here we go again. It's gonna be the same thing. It's gonna be someone betraying them and then gaining their trust back. But it wasn't. Instead of the typical storyline, she actually called her rangers, told them what happened, and they went together to fight her instead of her turning evil. So I appreciated that. I appreciate the fight scenes were more intense. In the original show, it was very choreographed, very predictable. You would see them all doing the same moves. There were even parts where they would wait for the next punch. It'd be like kick, turn, punch, over and over and over. In this, it was very real fighting. It was damage. I know the Rita Repulsa scene when she fought Trini, she like slammed her into a room. They showed the damage of her room. They showed her with like cuts all down her side and bruises and everything. So I like that it feels more authentic, that it actually is showing their damage, and I like that they show the repercussions of it. To follow through with what's happening with Rita, this is the point in time where the Rangers feel defeated. They can't morph still. They can't get a hold of their powers. They can't use their weapons. They can't use their swords. But Rita challenged one of the Rangers. So they're all going to come together, Rangers or not, as friends, and fight her. Little did they know, though, this is what she wanted. She knew she could still morph. She had her power coin. She was stronger than them. And she knew she would be able to best them. So they show kind of a smarter Rita Repulsa that actually plans and thinks. So that's one thing I really appreciate. Instead of her just sending her goons, like, she's not afraid to do the dirty work. They go to confront Rita, and she's obviously way too strong for them. She overpowers them, and she captures them very easily. They have a fight with some good fight choreography. They use weapons they find in this junkyard, but then they end up defeated. They're all tied to a boat, and they are at Rita's mercy, basically. So now all of them are literally chained to a boat over water, and Rita threatens to kill one of them. This will be 2 parts. 2, 3.
Good.
Okay. Alright. Oh god, what's my intro? Okay. They didn't trust each other. Hold on, I have to burp, I think. No, pass. Okay.
Just so you know, we're over 12 minutes.
Oh, crap.